all the part. Good afternoon. I am Pinky Kedia, Treasurer WRC. Welcome you all for our Wow series on Wednesday. It's a first webinar in 2025 new calendar year. So have a happy new year and have a great year ahead. I request you all to put your hand on your heart for our institute motto, ICI motto. Mr. Ji, please play our institute motto.
य एष सुप्तेषु जाग्रति य एष सुप्तेषु जाग्रति कामं 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 पुरुषो निर्विमाणः निर्विमाणः तदेव शुक्रं तदेव शुक्रदब्रह्मा तदब्रह्मा तदेवामृतमुच्यते तस्मिन् लोकः शतः सर्वे तदूनात्यपि कश्चनान्यपि कश्चन एतद्वैता 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 एतद्वैता.
Thank you. Thank you. So our today's topic is introduction for Zoho book and how step by step we can convert in our books into the Zoho book. And we have with us both the faculty, Chithra Sampath, and second one is Karthika Murugavel. So I welcome you all, you both the faculty, and we have a coordinator with us, CA Sonia. I request Sonia to please introduce both the faculty to the webinar, please. Mute. Sonia, you are on mute.
Hi, good morning all, and thank you for the attending the conference. It's my pleasure to introduce our speakers for the evening. We have two representatives from Zoho, and Karthika, who's going to give an overview of how the Zoho migration would work, and she heads the business solution. The session will be conducted by Chithra, and it is my honor and privilege to introduce both our speakers for the day. Starting with Karthika Murugavel. She's the head of business solutions at Zoho Finance and Operations. With 12 years of experience in business solutions, she has spent the past decade with the Zoho Finance team, where she specializes in helping chartered accountants integrate modern technology advancements. She collaborates with clients and accountants to chart strategic solutions tailored to diverse business needs. Having lived in various parts of the country as an army kid, she brings a wide-ranging perspective to her work, balancing her role as a mother, as a married and a mother of an 8-year-old boy with professional commitments. She's deeply passionate about empowering women in the workforce, actively supporting their career growth. Her extensive travel representing Zoho Finance and Operations highlights the commitments to blending technology and traditional accounting practices, enabling professionals to succeed in a rapidly evolving industry. Moving on to introducing Chithra. Chithra Sampath is a lead at solution consultant at Zoho Books. Chithra works as a part of the pre-sales team, specializing in providing tailored solutions for mid-market and enterprise customers. Her role involves understanding complex business requirements and providing effective strategies to meet client needs, ensuring that they achieve their goals with the best possible solutions. She has worked previously for 6 years as an assistant professor and has developed a strong foundation in mentoring and guiding the next generation of professionals. This mentorship experience has enhanced her ability to communicate effectively with her team, providing a collaborative and innovative work environment. Born in Chennai, she has completed her master's in engineering with the distinction of ranking first in the university and was honored as a gold medal in her strength. As a professional, I have been using Zoho Books ever since the lockdown, since the time that QuickBooks have stopped, and then we all had to migrate to Zoho Books. And I have been very, like, as an hands-on experience. I have great working relationships with Zoho team, and how they are able to customize the product to cater to all the changing requirements in the tax world. So with that, I will hand over the mic to Karthika to take the session forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you for the wonderful introduction, and glad to meet you, a Zoho Books user. And something coming from your own mouth is, such a credibility for us. Thank you. Thank you for letting everyone know about the experience you have with Zoho Books.
Yeah. We handle more than 100 clients on Zoho. And because of that, as a female lead, when I know that my daughters is kind of having her school vacation, we can cater to our client requirement without even having any issues, because we all can work from home, and that kind of helps us provide that security and the support in terms of that data is online and we all can work from anywhere in the world. So yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, that's great. I think that's the whole agenda of this WoW series. Like, we want to enable the especially the women CAs to come back to work and get started where they left. So if someone like you who have used it and you have achieved it, then something coming from you really means a lot. Thanks for sharing that as well.
Looking forward to the session myself. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so we'll get started. So first of all, Happy New Year, everyone. It's great to see good number of participants who have joined. So I would like to know if we have any repetitive participants. So we have done close to 9 sessions already in WoW series. So this is our 10th session. So is there anyone who has already attended our sessions, who knows about Zoho Books or Zoho Finance applications already? Maybe we can use a chat window. So if we have any repetitive attendees, even if you have attended one session, please use the chat window and let us know. It would be good to have participation from your end too. No one? So new year, new participants. I have not attended session before, but I use Zoho Books sometimes. So okay, that's nice.
One fine thing is that in our WoW series, male participants are also there.
Yes, yes, yes.
In our every WoW series, we are find male participants.
All right. So I think most of the participants are new to the series, and I think they should be new to Zoho also. I'm not sure if everyone knows the products. I have recently started using Zoho Books. Looking forward to this session. One comment. Okay, thank you. Okay, so looks like a few of them have not attended the sessions, but they have used Zoho Books. Okay. Also, I see that they have used, so I hope they will start using if they had a break in between. All right, so we can get started. So let us quickly share our screen. So I hope everyone is able to see our screen. Okay, so before we get into the actual migration, we'll just talk about a couple of things, like so I feel that in India, still there is a lot of hesitation to migrate to cloud. We are very used to the traditional accounting applications. So since this topic is all about migration to Zoho Books, which is a cloud application, my first question to our participants is, why do you think that you should migrate to cloud? So anything which you have in mind, you can just put it in the chat window. Why do you think you should migrate to cloud? Let me check. Okay, so first answer is work flexibility, access from anywhere in the world, anytime access, quick access to data, easy accessibility. All right. Any more points? All right. So, so we'll just quickly talk about, why you should migrate to cloud, and then we will get into the actual migration steps of, moving your accounting data from whatever accounting application you're using to Zoho Books. So we've got some more answers: better reports than traditional softwares, no fear of data loss, excellent, global opportunity, great. All right. So I think we are on point. So if there is anyone who is still thinking, why should I even migrate to cloud? So these are the answers to you. So traditionally, in accounting, we have been doing a lot of data entry. Okay, and that's a manual data entry, and obviously it would be prone to errors, and also it would be too much to work. And I think some 90% of time you would be spending on doing the data entry rather than the actual financial reporting. Okay, so first thing, which would save your time, energy, and would let you focus on the actual important thing if you migrate to cloud, is reduction of the manual data entry, or you can say moving towards almost automatic data entries. Okay, second one is, if you're still stuck to the old accounting traditional accounting applications which are desktop based, then obviously you are going to have very limited accessibility. So we all know how much everyone suffered when COVID happened, right? And only the companies which was working on cloud, okay, if they were using applications which were on cloud, were able to sustain. So also, if you're more, as everyone has already pointed out, and I do not have to repeat it much, you can access it anytime, anywhere, and any number of people can access if you are using a cloud application. Okay, so third one is data security. When I say any number of people can access, it doesn't mean that everyone will have access to everything. You can actually secure your data with the access which you would be giving to everyone, so everyone will have their own logins, and hence built-in protocols will be there to manage that. Like, for example, multi-factor authentications would be there in cloud applications, so even login to a particular application will be very much secure. And since everyone will have different credentials, and there will be logs of who is doing what, you can have a very good control of your on your applications. And most of the cloud applications comply with all the international standards which is required, be it privacy compliance, or anything with respect to security, like good having a world class security data centers. All of that will be mostly taken care by the cloud application. So that is also very good reason to move to cloud, because it is very important to have your accounting data secured. And then, say if you're using desktop based applications, integrations is a major challenge. So let's say you're doing some expense management in an application. Your clients are using their own in-house applications to do their billing, or maintaining some operational activities. Then they have to transfer the data to you, either in physical paper copies, or by whatever means, and then you have to actually do the accounting. So there is no way to integrate the data, right? So again, you spend a lot of time, or your clients have to spend a lot of time in moving the data from here and there. So data will be in bits and pieces, and they would not talk to each other. Whereas if you're having a cloud application, most of the cloud applications will have open APIs, and you will be able to simply integrate the applications. And many applications have built-in integrations also, or add-ons also, to integrate. So it's very, you have more opportunity to integrate if you are using cloud applications. So I'm sure you would have heard of these things. So just in case if you had even a small doubt of why I should migrate to cloud, I hope it's it's convincing now that you should be able to, you should be actually migrating to cloud. And since I have talked about cloud, let's also understand some more benefits which you would get than the points which I had already mentioned. So we all agree that one size doesn't fit all, right? So your clients will have their own requirements, unique requirements, when it comes to different industries, or even as a business they might have some unique needs. So the applications which you're using for accounting, or for doing any kind of finance activities or operational activities, then it should be customizable. You should be able to customize it in a way that it suits your client's requirements or even your requirements. Second, it should be extensible. As I said, you should be able to integrate it with other applications, or let us say you are using it for some purpose. Now let's say you're using it for billing. Later, if you want to add on something there, you want to do your expenses also, you should be able to add on there. You want to build something, a new module there, then you should be able to do that. You want to do accounting now, you should be able to do that. Next, you want to do your HRMS also now, you should be able to add on to that. So it should be extensible and not rigid. Third, it should be intuitive. So you should not be spending too much time to get trained on an application. The application's UI should be in such a way that you just go and use it, right? For example, I don't think we were trained on how to use a WhatsApp, right? You just see it, you understand it, and you use it. When you have to book a flight ticket, we don't get trained, right? You just go there, see the website, and book the ticket. So such should be our accounting applications also. You shouldn't be trained on that. When you go and see an application, you should just know that, oh, here is where I need to put the entries, here is where my journals are generated, here is where I see my reports. So it should be intuitive. Things should be automated, so that you just do things and then you get your final reports. It should be that intuitive, and it should be scalable. So let's say your client is starting small, but then as they grow, your application which you're using should be able to adapt to that growth. Now you shouldn't be changing your application when your client is growing, or even when you are growing, you shouldn't be changing your vendors or applications. So you should be choosing applications which are scalable, considering the volume of the data or the complexity of the use cases. So like for your clients, when it comes to billing, so they might have a very simple billing done when they start their business, but then as they grow, the billing needs might differ. Even when it comes to accounting, the way you manage your assets, the type of managements you would do with respect to inventory or with respect to order management. So if it's a retail business, first they start offline, then they sell online, then they sell global, right? So the applications which you are using should be scalable in every possible way. So you need to think of 360-degree growth when you choose any application. So these are some additional benefits of cloud when you're migrating to cloud. So now that we have spoken about cloud, and I've already told Zoho Books is a cloud application, I'll also highlight some of the features with Zoho Books offers. So since most of you do not know Zoho Books, I'll just quickly show you the UI of Zoho Books. So this is how it looks like. As I said, it's very intuitive. So as soon as you see that, you see some graphical representations here. So yes, after you have your data here, this is how it would look like, where you can see your receivables, payables, cash flow, everything on your dashboard. Okay. So Zoho Books is an end-to-end accounting applications, right from managing your billing. Okay, so we have a sales section where you can add your customers masters. You can write from quotations to invoices to collecting cash. All of this is handled here. We support online payment gateways also for collecting cash. And then if you have a process of creating sales orders, all that is also managed here. Then we also help you completely manage your AP. So in the purchases sections, you'll be able to add your vendor masters and then create your orders, create the bills, and then, recording payments for the bills. We also have integrations for making the payments of bills right from Zoho Books. And it is a GST compliant application. So right from adding your customers, vendors, creating all the transactions, it would be GST compliant. Plus we also support GST filing. So we are Zoho is a GST Suvidha provider. So we support GST filing also directly from Zoho. So you can push your GSTR 3B data from Zoho to GSTN portal and complete your filing there. And you can make the payment right from Zoho Books, because we have a concept of connected banking. So we are partnered with some banks like HSBC, Standard Chartered Bank, Kotak Bank, Yes Bank, and SBI, because of which you will be able to make the payments right from Zoho Books. So either for a bill, you can make the payment from Zoho Books, or as I said, for GST payment also, you can make the payment right from Zoho Books. You can file your GSTR 1 directly from Zoho Books. GSTR 9 can also be managed from here. GSTR 2A, 2B reconciliations can also be done here. And now we support IMS also. Okay. And we also handle multi GSTNs in Zoho Books. So if your clients have multiple GSTNs registered, then within the same organization of Zoho Books, you can manage the multiple GSTNs. So you can file multiple GSTNs also, GSTN reports also from filings also from Zoho Books. And you can see the P&L, balance sheet, or any kind of reports also with respect to each of the GSTNs in the same Zoho Books organization. So you'll have the consolidated report also here for all the GSTNs together in the same organizations, or GSTN level reports can also be generated here. And as I said, the application which you should choose should be definitely customizable and extensible. So Zoho Books definitely does that. So we offer variety of customizations here, like, when it comes to transactions, or adding masters, right from adding new fields to creating new status for the transactions, or the way you can filter the whole data, creating different views, or even creating a new module also. We offer you that option to create a custom module apart from the modules which we have given. And you can automate a lot of tasks here, right? For example, first of all, in Zoho Books, a lot of things are automated. For example, when you add your customers, vendors, items with all the details, then when you create a transaction, you just select those, and the invoice, all the data gets populated automatically, and creation of transactions becomes very easy. Okay. So let's say you have created one quotation, okay, with all the details, then you do not have to create an invoice all over again. You can simply convert that quotation to an invoice. Okay. So that is a kind of automation which we support. Let's say you want to upload your expenses in Zoho Books, then instead of creating an expense manually, you can upload a receipt of your expense here, and Zoho Books, it can auto scan the receipt and create an expense transaction automatically. So such kind of automations are by default supported in Zoho Books. Beyond that, you can further automate your workflows according to your business needs. Let us say when an invoice gets created, you want to do some calculations based on that to create a commission. So you can create a workflow to write that logic, give the criterias, what should be the calculation done, and after that what should happen. Like you want an expense to be created, or a journal to be created. So you just dictate the system that, when so and so thing happens, then so and so should happen. So you can create such workflows and automate those tasks. Okay. And by default, we support inventory tracking also. So based on your bills and invoices, as and when you create your bills, your stock on hand increases. As on when you create invoices, your stock on hand decreases. We follow the FIFO method by default. If you want it to be handled based on the inventory, based on the orders, that can also be done. And we manage advanced inventory also. So if you have a detailed order management process to be handled, right from dispatching to tracking the shipment to receiving the goods, all of that you want to be tracked. If you have good warehouse management to be done, then all of that can be done from Zoho Books. So we handle the advanced inventory also. And by default, we support some 70 plus reports, which is required for a business, be it your business overview reports like your profit and loss, balance sheet, inventory reports, receivables, payables, sales, purchases reports, your accounting reports like journal reports, your ledger reports, budget reports, if you are handling multi-currency, then currency reports. And we also provide activity logs. So as I was saying, right, like since multiple users will be accessing the data, the logs will be at the user level. So what was the change made and the comparison of the changes made, all of that will be covered in audit logs. So these are some default reports which are available. Beyond that, if you want to create your own reports even from the scratch, that is also possible. So the reports which are by default available, you can do some customizations here. We call it as custom reports. And beyond that, you can use our business intelligence report called Zoho Analytics, which is part of Zoho Books, where you can create beautiful dashboards according to your requirement. You can, just slice and dice the data the way you want, the way your manager wants, or the way the CEO of the company wants, or the way you want. You can just create new reports also here. So that was a quick introduction of Zoho Books and the capabilities which we offer. And now that you have an understanding about the Zoho Books, let's get back to the migration. So you might already know it, but I'll just list down the checklist which you would require for your migration. So this is something common which you would need for any of the migrations. So let us say you have decided to migrate the data from the previous application to Zoho Books. Then first thing you need to do is obviously backup the data. So depending on whether your application allows you to have the data even after subscription or not, it's better you back up the data and have the data ready with you, which needs to be migrated. And then on whichever date you are going to migrate. Okay, so usually it's the beginning of the fiscal year. So let's say you're going to start using Zoho Books from 1st April 2025. Okay, so run the trial balance of the previous application as on 31st March 2025, and whatever is the trial balance of available there, just export it and have it ready, because that is what we are going to use it here. Okay, and obviously since you're going to use the new application, so Zoho Books here, so just import the trial balance and see, just trial run and see how it looks like. Okay, so we are in step 2. You have backed up the data, you have the trial balance of the data. Next, format the data. So now in Zoho Books, obviously the way the transactions are, the fields which are used in the transactions, or the name of the fields used, the nomenclature might be different from what you have in your old application. So check the format of every module which you are going to import. For example, let's say customers. Okay, so you're going to bring the customers from your old application to new application. So you have the backup of the customer file. So please check the format of the customer file in Zoho Books, and format your old file into the new file the way the new application needs, Zoho Books needs. Okay, so you have to do this format for every module. So customers, vendors, your chart of accounts, mostly the things would be same, but the format might be different. As simple as even the format of the file might be different. So let's say your old application might have XML file, whereas here what we accept would be a CSV or an XLS file. So first thing would be to convert that XML file into the CSV file, and then finally also have the data as per the format of the file. Like let's say in Zoho Books, when you're bringing your customers, we would not accept the customers data without their GST treatment. So if your old file doesn't have that information, then here you would have to format the file, you would have to create a field for the GST information. Okay, and then mapping the data. So your old file is also going to have all the data, but as I said, the nomenclature might be different. So you would have to map the data according to the new nomenclature. Okay, for example, the old file has a column called ABC. Then in the new file, in the new application, let us the name of that ABC is XYZ. Then you have to map that ABC should be imported as XYZ. So you have to understand, you have to learn the new application Zoho Books, and then you should know what should be mapped. Okay, so you might call as vouchers in your old application. In Zoho Books, if we are calling it as payment receipts, or the payments, or in bills or expenses, what is the nomenclature of that voucher in Zoho Books? You would have to understand that and map it. You should know that what you're going to import as what in the new application. And then test the import. So once your files are ready, so you have created the new format file with the mapped data, then just import that file here and see how that data looks like. Is it convincing? Are you okay with the way the data have got imported? Or is something missed while importing? Have you missed out anything? Is everything here? Have you left out anything? Like let's say you added a notes or a comment, has it come here? Is it needed? and like, if whatever you wanted is available here, and how this imported data looks here, how now the trial balance looks like, how the report looks like now. Okay. And once you're done with all the imports, and you're okay, you've learned the system, and you are about to get started, you need to also train the users. So it will not be just you who would be using Zoho Books. So your clients and other staffs who are going to use Zoho Books, you, of course, you need to train them. When I say train them here, of course, as I said, as it is very intuitive, you do not need very intensive training. But yes, you would have to train them with the nomenclatures of Zoho Books, the behavior of Zoho Books, and you would have to maybe train them on how they should start doing accounting in Zoho Books. So I hope the checklist is clear. So let's get started now. Let's get into action and migrate the data. So over to Chitra. She will show you the demonstration of some of the imports on how you can do that in Zoho Books.
So thank you so much, Karthika, for the introduction, and a very good afternoon, everyone. So I believe you're clear on what Zoho Books offers, what are the advantages on moving to a cloud-based system from a traditional accounting. Now we'll come to the main part of the session, which is the topic for today on how we can migrate to Zoho Books in a step-by-step manner. So without any further delay, to start with the first step, so we need to get started from the old application that you are using. So you might be having your historical data there. And as we discussed in the previous slide, the first step is to generate the trial balance in your previous accounting application. So let us assume you're going to start using Zoho Books from 1st of April 2025. In that case, what you can do is you can go to your old accounting platform. You can generate the trial balance report as on 31st March of 2025. So run the trial balance in your old accounting solution as on 31st March 2025 and export your trial balance and from there and keep it. So we will see two approaches here. One thing which we usually suggest to our clients is you can just import your opening balances into Zoho Books and start using Zoho Books from the new fiscal year onwards, which is a suggested solution. But just in case you want to bring in your legacy data also into Zoho Books, we'll also show you the steps on how data can be migrated as well. So if you're planning to only bring in the opening balances, in that case, generate the trial balance as on, if it is going to be 1st of April, generate the trial balance as on 31st of March and have it ready. Or if you're also going to bring in your transactions from your previous accounting platform into Zoho Books, you can also export the module-wise data. So you might be having the master information there, the sales transactions might be there, the purchase transactions might be there, right? So you can export all the data from your old accounting platform and have it ready with you. This is the first step. Now we will come to the Zoho Books side, where before you start migrating your data, what is the basic configuration we can do? So three important steps which you can follow before we start with the data migration part are these three things. One is we can configure the organization profile. So I'm just navigating to my Zoho Books webpage. So as we were discussing, this is basically how the user interface of Zoho Books would look like. And from the dashboard, if you see at the top right, you'll be having a settings section that will be available, basically a gear icon. And from this gear icon, there'll be a profile setup that will be available. So from the profile section, you can configure the logo of the organization, and the basic details of the organization can be configured here. Like starting from what is the organization name, what is the industry you belong to, and you can add the address of the organization. So all these basic details can be configured. In addition to this, any additional information. So when you send transactions to your customers, if you think certain default information must be available in your templates you share, maybe the company registration number or the TIN number of your organization or the PAN number of your organization. So any of these additional details you want to display, you can add them using the additional fields option that is available here. So this is the first setup that we can do. As I said, starting from adding your organization logo, you can configure the address of your organization and any additional information can be configured here. So once the basic profile settings has been done, most of the businesses might be registered for GST. So in that case, you can enter your GSTIN information from the taxes settings available. So if you see, there'll be a category called as taxes and compliances, under which there'll be a taxes section available. And here there'll be this section called as GST settings. So from this GST settings, you can add the GSTI number of the organization. So as you see, there is a field to enter the GSTI number. What is the legal name of your business, and from which state, like from which date you got the GST registration. And you can enter, like choose the option whether you want to have reverse charge enabled in your sales transactions. And if you deal with customers who belong to the SEZ region, or you have overseas customers to whom you trade your products, basically you sell your products, you can enable these options if required, and you can configure your GST information. So this is the second step where your GST information can be configured. And once your organization GST number has been added, the tax information will be populated automatically. So basically, we populate a set of GST default percentages. But just in case you want to add any GST percentage as per your business use case, yes, we can add the same. So here there is an option to add a new tax. So you can enter what is the tax name. Let's say GST 5 is the tax I want to configure. I'll enter the percentage as 5 and the tax type as, let's say 2.5 will be for CGST, 2.5% for SGST. We can create new taxes from here, which can be associated while creating your transactions. So just in case you think the available GST percentages would not be sufficient and you want the additional tax to be added, you can add the same using the new tax option that is available here. And finally, one important setting will be the branches settings. Once again, certain organizations might be having multiple branches as well, either within the same GST registration, or you might be having it across states with different GST registrations. So in that case, the branch information can also be added. So here under branches, you can choose whether for the branch, the same logo should be applicable, or you want to add a new logo. Like if you have different branding for the different branches you have, right? You can even add a separate logo for your branches as well. And you can enter the branch name, address of the branch. Once again, the GST number of your branch can be added. And even separate transaction series can be configured for your branches. Maybe for branch, the main branch, it should start as BR1. The numbering will be 001. And for the branch 2, the prefix should be BR2 and 001. So likewise, if you want to differentiate the transactions created between multiple branches, even multiple transaction series can be configured here. So these are three important settings, like basic setup that you can do before you start to migrate your data. So what we saw so far was how the basic profile information can be configured in Zoho Books. And as the second step, we saw how the GST information of your organization can be added by using the tax settings. And finally, if in case you are a multi-branch entity where multiple GSTINs might be there, or multiple branches might be there associating to the same GSTIN, you can add them using the branches settings available. So having done these basic configuration in your Zoho Books organization, we will jump on to migrating your data. So, and as I said, migration, we can do it in two ways. One thing is just to bring in the opening balances and start using Zoho Books fresh for the organization. And the second way is how we can bring in your historical data too. So we will start with the first part where we would want to bring the opening balances into your Zoho Books organization. To start with, configuring the chart of accounts. So basically, you might be having various ledgers configured. You might be already using any other accounting platform where default set of ledgers will be pre-configured. So in that case, we can bring in the same chart of accounts, basically all your ledgers into Zoho Books using the chart of accounts section. So let me move on to the Zoho Books organization once again. So as we see at the left, various modules are available. And these ledgers will be available under the accountant module and the chart of accounts section. Now, when I come to chart of accounts, as you see, multiple ledgers are pre-configured in the system. So by default, within Zoho Books, we do provide a defined set of ledgers under all the categories, starting from the asset, liability, equity, income, and expense. So under each category, default set of ledgers are available. So either you can take a look at this. If you want to map your existing ledgers to these ledgers, you can make use of the same. Or if you think you want to bring in your own ledgers into the system, there is an import functionality available. So as you see at the top, there is an option called as import chart of accounts, where you can import the ledger information, like what is the account name, account type, along with the opening balances for these ledgers. All this information can be bulk imported. And as you see, the supported file formats are CSV, TSV, or XLS formats. So you can bring in data in any of these formats. So let me show you a sample file which I have. So I'll open a chart of accounts file which I have configured so that you will know how the data would look like. Right. So this is my Excel sheet containing various ledger information. So from your previous software, you can bring in the name of the account. If you have the account code configured, account code can be brought in. Any description specific to the accounts like wages, it is basically the amount I owe to my employees, right? So if any description specific to these accounts can be mentioned, and what type of an account it is, whether it is a liability account, an asset account, income, expense, you can mention the account type and along with the opening balances for these ledgers. So whether you're bringing in a debit balance or a credit balance, you can mention debit or credit accordingly. And what is the balance you're bringing in against this particular ledger? So basically the chart of accounts file contains only these basic details. What is the account name, account type, and what is the opening balance against these ledgers? So you can prepare your file, like basically your set of ledgers in this format, and we can import this file into Zoho Books. So let me click on this choose file option and I'll select this chart of accounts file which I have. And the next step is to map the fields. So in Zoho Books, if you see the field name is account name, and in the Excel file you're importing, you need to map it to the right column. So in my Excel file also, the column name is account name. So basically system automatically picks up and it matches all the respective headers. Just in case you have a different header name, you can map it according to the header that you have. So just verify all the headers have been mapped correctly and you can proceed to the next step. And as you see, system shows that all these accounts are ready to be imported. Just in case any errors might be there, any data is incorrectly entered in a different format, you will be able to see that under the records script section. And also a file will be available. It is basically error log. So it will tell you what is the error that needs to be rectified. You can just make the respective changes and you can bulk import data into the system. So this is done where we have completed the first step. So basically what we have done is we have brought in the various ledgers into the system along with the opening balances of the same. So we have configured the chart of accounts and moving on to the bank accounts. So as you see the second step, once again, you might be having bank accounts and against these bank and the credit card accounts balances might be there. So as we discussed during the first part of the session, within Zoho Books, a banking module is available. And any balance you might be having against the bank ledger or the credit card accounts that you're having can be brought in from here. So once again, two ways of your banks can be added. One is we have a set of partnered banks. So you can either connect any of these partnered banks with Zoho Books. Or apart from these partnered banks, we also provide integration with the banks through a third-party service provider called as Yodlee. So you can just agree to the terms and conditions. And in the next step, you'll be having an option to search for your bank name. You can search for your bank name from the search box that will be available for you. And you can enter your net banking login credentials and you can connect your bank account with your Zoho Books organization. So this is one way how basically the bank statements can be pulled in here. And against the bank, the respective balances can be brought in. Or in case you not want to connect your bank account using the integration that we provide, there is also an option to bring in your bank account manually. So as you see here, there is an add manually option available where you can enter the name of your bank and what is the currency in your bank and other details. And you can add your bank with the Zoho Book system. So for example, let me add a bank now. I'll just add a bank name called as ABC Bank. You can mention your account code, the currency of the bank name, IFSC details, and you can add your bank account. So once your bank account has been added in this way, you can enter the opening balance corresponding to this bank by navigating to the settings option that is available here. And under settings, there'll be an opening balances section. So we can go to the opening balances section and at the top, there'll be edit button that will be available. You can edit this and you can enter what is the opening balance against the bank that you brought in. So you can bring in whether it is a debit or a credit balance and you can add the opening balance against your bank account. So basically the bank balances which you are having, either you can integrate your bank using the default integration using Yodlee and the list of partner banks which we are providing. Or if you want to add your bank account manually, you can add it manually as well. And against these bank accounts, the opening balances can be configured. And moving on will be the master information. So we have brought in the chart of accounts and we have brought in the bank balances and also the credit card balances as well. Next is the master information we need to bring in, which will be mainly three things. One is list of items you might be having and your list of customers and the vendors. Basically, in Zoho Books, items correspond to two. One is whether you are into a goods-based business where products are dealt with, where inventory might be involved. So list of products are also called as items here. Or you're a service-oriented sector where you provide services to your clients. List of services can also be brought in as items into Zoho Books. So all the products and services you deal in your business can be brought in using the items module that is available here. So let me navigate to the items module. So as you see, by default, whatever item you've created manually will be available here. And just to let you know, the way of manually creating it is just by clicking on the plus new button, and the basic information of your items can be configured. Starting from name of the item, whether it is a HSN code, if it is a good, or if it is a service, you can enter the corresponding SAC code. And you can also configure the sales and purchase information, like what is the account under which the account, like accounting for these items must be done, and what are the default GST rate corresponding to these items. And if it is a product for which you would want to track the stock, it is also possible to track the inventory for these items. But you can choose the stock account under which inventory tracking must take place. And along with that, the opening stock and opening stock rate per unit can be configured. So basically, if you want to bring in your items along with the opening stock and the opening balances against these items, you can add it under the items module available. So this is a way of manually creating it. Once again, across all the modules, a bulk importing functionality is available. And once again, for items too, we can import the list of items in bulk. So here there is an import items functionality available, where once again a sample file is provided here, which is an Excel template. We can download this Excel template, populate the various item details in this Excel file that we have, and the same can be imported back. So I'll open the items file which I have with me. So you can arrange your item information in this format. So this file basically contains the item details, like what is the name of the item, HSN or SAC code, and what is the selling price of the item, and what is the GST percentage corresponding to this item. And similarly, what is the purchase information, like the purchase price of the item, the purchase account under which it needs to be tracked. And if it is going to be an inventory item, you can mention what is the stock account under which inventory tracking must be done. And also there is a column called as item type. So you can enter whether it is only a sales item, where only you'll be creating sales transactions for this, or if it is only a purchase item, where you're going to create only purchase transactions for the same, or if it is an item for which both sales and purchases will be involved, you can mention the item type as sales and purchases. Or if it is a stock item for which inventory tracking also needs to be done, you can mention the item type as inventory. So this is one important field which you need to note. If you want inventory tracking to be enabled for that particular item, ensure that you mention the item type as inventory item. So these basic details can be configured in the item file, and we can import this file in bulk into Zoho Books. So let me choose this file. And you can also check whether you want to skip the duplicates if already a similar item name is available, or if you want to override the item if the same item name exists. And once again, the headers can be mapped. So system automatically picks up the mapping. If in case you want to modify any header mapping from your end, you can check and modify the same as well. So starting from the rate, the account, so all these fields will be mapped from the Excel file that we have chosen. And as you see, the items are ready to be imported. So this will bring in the various items into Zoho Books. So if in case the number of items, both products and service lists are huge, you can just make use of this Excel format, populate various item details in this Excel file, and the same can be imported under the items module. So we are done with the second master configuration, where first we brought on the chart of accounts, and second we have brought in the list of items, basically both products you deal in your business, and in case of services, list of services you offer. Third thing will be the customers and vendors. So the end clients with whom you deal with can be added as customers in your Zoho Books organization. And these clients can be added using the customer section available under the sales module. So once again, just to understand what fields will be available while importing your customers, it is like the basic details like the name, email ID, the contact number of the customer which you want to bring in. And in addition to this, the GST information of your customers can be brought in, the PAN number of them, and also opening balances which you might be having. So for the customers, the accounts receivable balances might be there, right? So any outstanding you have from the customer's end, the same outstanding can be brought in as opening balances while importing your customers. So you can either create the customer manually, or once again, it is also possible to import your customers in bulk. So we will open the customer's file and see what information is basically needed. So I'll open this contact CSV file which I have. So I'm bringing in the display name of my customer and also currency. So if in case you deal with overseas clients to whom you'll be creating transactions in multiple currencies, you can also mention what is the currency in which you'll be creating transactions for them. And also if in case opening balances are there for the particular customers, you can mention the opening balances for them. If it is an INR outstanding, you can mention the exchange rate as 1. But if it is a opening balance in a different currency, you need to enter the exchange rate for that particular transaction too. And GST treatment. So customers might be of different verticals, right? Certain customers might be a registered business. You might deal with overseas customers, or you might be having B2C customers also. So you can check out the GST treatment of these customers accordingly. So if it is a registered business, you can enter the treatment as business underscore GST, and you can enter what is their corresponding GSTN number. For overseas customers, of course, GSTN number might not be there, and same holds true for B2C customers as well. We can just enter the GST treatment as consumer, and we can leave the GSTN number field empty. Apart from this, if you want to bring in other information too, like you want to bring in the mobile number of the contacts, address information of the contacts, right? Of course, you can add various columns, mention the additional details required, and those information can also be bulk imported. So I'll just choose this file, which is the contact file that we saw. And as I said, if you want to skip the duplicates or override the existing customers, or if in case a duplicate is there, you want this duplicate to be created as a new customer, you can choose the duplicate handling accordingly here. And we can proceed with the next step. And ensure all the respective fields required are mapped, like the display name, what is the currency code, and also the GST information of the contacts. And we also had the opening balance in the file. So I've also checked out that opening balance column has been mapped. I'll click on the next option. So now the system says that the customers are also ready to be imported, and we can import the customers in bulk. So basically, importing process is a very simple process. We just need to ensure that the data present in the file is in a readable format, and also we perform the necessary mapping between the fields in Zoho Books and whatever import file that you're doing. So customers have been brought in. We'll also similarly see how your suppliers, basically your vendors, can be brought in. And with that, we'll complete the master section. So to bring in your suppliers, we can follow a similar process like how we imported customers under sales, right? You can bring in your suppliers as vendors under the purchases module. So once again, we can navigate to the import option that will be available here. And we can choose the file. So vendors file will also be in a similar format as how the customer's file was. I've chosen the vendors file, and we can proceed to the next step. And we can ensure that all the fields are mapped correctly. And if you're bringing in the opening balance can also be mapped. And once again, vendors are also ready to be imported. Right? And if in case you have brought in the opening balance for the particular customers or vendors, you'll also be able to view the same. For example, let me consider this particular customer. So as you see, I had the opening balance against this customer in my file. So which will be brought in as opening balance and outstanding receivable in the name of the customer. So if you click on this view opening balance, you'll be able to see what is the outstanding that has been brought in along with the import. So this completes the import process, basically the migration process of your master information, where we brought in the list of ledgers along with the opening balances using the chart of accounts section. Then we added our bank accounts, and for the banks, the opening balances can be added directly from the settings. And after that, we brought in the item information, which are basically both products and services. And we also added the list of customers and vendors, basically the clients and suppliers with whom you deal with as customers and vendors in Zoho Books, along with their outstanding balances. So maybe we can take a pause here. Any questions on configuring the opening balances, please do feel free to post using the chat section so that we can. You'll also be having a Q&A section, so please do post your questions using the Q&A tab. So we will complete regarding the opening balances configuration, and then we'll jump on to the transaction part of the migration. Okay, so I can see that we have trouble with bulk import. So basically, when you import a file, where you'll be getting errors is if the data is not in the a readable format or in what we support in our sample template, right? At that point, you might get an error. So when you are getting an error, system will tell you like for what reason data is not being imported, like what is the error, the system will clearly tell you. So please do make the changes as per the error that is mentioned, and you'll be able to import the data perfectly. Right. So we have other questions coming up. So while creating chart of accounts, we will not get customers and vendors. Yes, of course. So if in case you want to bring in the accounts receivable and the payable balances, right, that can also be done. So let me share my screen. One moment. Right. So if you go to settings and the opening balances, right, there'll be a section to bring in the accounts receivable and payable balances. So you can navigate to settings, opening balances. And once you click on edit, there'll be an option called as accounts receivable and accounts payable. So from here, you can download the sample file that is available. So here, basically, account name will be accounts receivable. And you can mention accounts receivable debit balance is so and so amount, and there'll be a contact column available. So you can mention the name of the contact there, and you can import the AR and AP balances as well. So yes, you can import it during the chart of accounts import itself. Only thing is mention the account name as accounts receivable, account type as accounts receivable, have another column called as contact so that you can mention for which customer or vendor this opening balance is brought in.
Okay, so there is a question on does Zoho team help clients with data migration? So yes, actually, we do have tool to migrate data also for certain softwares. Okay, so if you know, when Qubio was exiting, we had provided the provision to migrate the data from Qubio to Zoho Books within Zoho Books itself, and we also helped migrate data manually also. We have a lot of partners available who work along with us. So if you become our partner, we can help you with my getting trained in books, and also on my we can guide you on how you can also do migrations. And if you have clients currently and you want them to be migrated also, you can contact us, we can help you with the migrations. So as I said, we have a lot of contacts, we have partners available who can do the migrations, and we have tools also available to do the migrations.
Yeah, so we have a question that when we migrate the data in Zoho as of 1st April, there is a mismatch in the opening balance. And we have been told that the same is due to transaction posted on 1st April. Okay, so one thing is you need to ensure what is the migration date that you have mentioned. If in case you're going to start using Zoho Books from 1st April 2025, let us assume the date is 1st April 2025. Two things you need to ensure. One is the trial balance that you generate in the previous software and which you bring into Zoho Books is as on 31st March 2025. And the migration date that you mentioned there, right? So in the opening balances section, there'll be a migration date column, that field that is available. So ensure that the migration date is also 31st March 2025. So if in case you mentioned that as 1st April, and if you have created transactions on 1st of April, it will also consider that as an opening balance. And because of that, a mismatch can appear. So if in case from 1st April, you're going to start using Zoho Books, check these two things. One is date on which trial balance was generated. And second thing is what was the migration date that you have mentioned. So please ensure that migration date has been mentioned as 31/3/2025 as per the date you mentioned.
So next question is how to make bulk changes in the data already uploaded. So if you have already, if your question is that you're using Zoho Books already, you have data available and you want to make changes, then so let's say if the data is not right and you want to start fresh, better you create a new organization in Zoho Books and get started. Okay. If there is any masters which you want to just copy from your old organization to the new organization, export it and import it here. Okay. But if it's not, if the data is not very corrupted, there is just some changes which you need to make, like the accounts used are not right, then in Zoho Books we have a bulk update section where you can go and update your accounts. Or if some minor changes have to be made, export the data, make the changes and then import it. While importing, you'll have an option to overwrite also. You can make use of that option. There was another question in the very beginning, if Arabic is, which I missed to address, if Arabic is supported. So yes, we do support Arabic in e-invoicing templates, dashboards, and reports. Okay, so fonts are supported, but I wouldn't say the entire accounting will be in Arabic. But yes, for the major ones where you require, especially your e-invoicing templates and reports and dashboards and all, Arabic is available in our UI. So I think we will continue with the session and then we will take up the remaining questions. So yeah. So okay, I'll just answer another question. Roughly, how many entries can be posted in an hour in Zoho as compared to other softwares? Okay, if you're asking about import, so see if you're, it's just a file import, right? So so maybe if it's a 5 MB file, then just by a click of a button it should get imported. If the file size is very large, we would recommend you to split the files into 5 MB each and then import one by one. So instead of concurrent importing, one by one, if you import, then a 5 MB file can be easily imported. General ledger will not be extracted in Arabic. So yes, see, font is supported. Maybe Devang, who is very keen on the Arabic questions, maybe we can connect with you separately. Also, we can give you a demonstration of our KSA edition which we have, and then you can see if the support which we have for Arabic will be right for you. So I'll drop my email ID. Please drop me an email and we can have a session for you. Can we back up the data of all the transaction for whole year? Yes, automatic backup is available at our end. But for you to have a backup at your end, you can we have an option called backup it within the settings of Zoho Books itself, where you can back up the data every 15 days. And export of data from any module can be done at any point of time. So with this, we'll resume the session and we'll take up the questions after some time.
Right, so we are done with the opening balances import, and the upcoming slides are regarding the same. So where we saw how the chart of accounts can be brought in, how the bank and credit card accounts and their balances can be configured in Zoho Books, and how items along with their opening stocks can be brought in. So basically, when you import the item information itself, in that import file, you'll also be having fields to enter what is the opening stock available and opening stock rate per unit. And once you import these items, right, respective inventory asset opening balances will be updated automatically for you. So all that we have to do to bring in the right inventory asset balances, mention what is opening stock available and opening stock rate per unit in the import file that we are bringing. And we also saw how customers and vendors can be imported, and along with the customer and the vendor information, how the outstanding receivables and payables can be brought in the same file. Right. So this is regarding how the opening balances can be brought in. And in case you're planning to bring in your legacy data from your old software into Zoho Books, it is going to be a similar process on how we are bringing the opening balances. So we need to first ensure that whatever software you're currently using, those data is available in an exportable format. And it might be any format, because certain software supports XML, certain software is provided in CSV format. So you can ensure that you have all the necessary data that you want to bring in based on the software that you're using. So once you have all the data from the previous software ready, in Zoho Books, as we know that we have a sample template provided, right, which is basically an Excel file format. So we can export data from the previous software, and if possible, we can remove what data is not required. We can do the required data cleansing. If certain data is not needed, you can just remove the respective rows, and you can ensure that a proper, accurate information is available with you from your legacy system. So once that is done, you can just move that data from your previous software, whatever file you have extracted, into the sample templates which are available in Zoho Books. So as we saw, multiple headers are there. Just ensure the data is pasted against the respective right headers in the sample template that you are downloading in Zoho Books, and the same can be imported in bulk. So far what we saw was importing the opening balances. Now we will see how transactions can be imported. And once transactions have been successfully imported into the system, as a final step, you can verify the balances. So you can ensure that the trial balance which you have in the previous system matches with the trial balance that is generated in Zoho Books. So as we were discussing, basically these are the steps we will be following for importing your data. So under each and every module, for example, if consider the chart of accounts module here, there'll be an import option which will be available. And once we click on the import option, you can download the sample file. There'll be a hyperlink to download the sample file. Just click on that hyperlink, download the sample file that will be available. And you can check out the format for that file, populate the data in that sample file. You can choose that file, and the same file can be imported. So we saw opening balances, as I said. So we will also see how transactions can be imported in bulk. So we will see how under sales, invoices can be imported. And similarly, under purchases, how expenses and bills can be imported here. So I'm navigating to the invoices section available under sales. And once again, here there is an import invoices option. Just in case you're not sure on what template to use, as I said, a hyperlink is available here. Just click on this hyperlink using which a sample Excel file will be downloaded for you. So for now, I'll just take the file which I have. Like I've prepared some sample data, I'll just take that sample file. Right. So here certain fields I mentioned are invoice number. So if you're bringing data from your previous software, for every invoice, you'll be having the invoice number configured, right? You can bring in what is the invoice number, the date on which the invoice was created, what is a customer name, and in what currency the invoice is created. So if you're creating the currency in INR, mention the currency code as INR. In case if it is a multi-currency transaction, ensure that you bring in the exchange rate also, because based on the exchange rate, only the respective accounting will be taken care. So if it is a multi-currency transaction, please do ensure that the exchange rate is also mentioned correctly. And also the account under which the ledger entry needs to be posted. And for what item you're going to create this invoice for. So any product or any service for which you're invoicing your client, right? That is what we call as item here. So mention what is the item for which this invoice is being raised. And if in case you want to update the quantity, mention the quantity and what is the rate for one quantity of that particular item. So we can have only these basic details, because once we mention the customer name, the GST of the customer, the place of supply of the customer, all these will be automatically picked up from the customer masters for you. Similarly, just by mentioning the item name, the HSN code of the item, and the account which we associate at the item master level, all these will be automatically picked up for you. So it's not required to manually associate all this information in every file that you import. If you just have the master information configured perfectly, in importing the transaction files, only this basic information will be sufficient to create your invoices in bulk. So I'll just choose the same file and we will import the same. And if in case you do not have invoice numbers configured and you want that to be automatically generated by Zoho Books, we have this option to auto generate the invoice numbers as well. So you can choose, check out these options and choose it accordingly. And once again, ensure that the headers have been mapped correctly here. And we can proceed to the next step. So as you see, invoices are ready to be imported. And we'll click on the import option. So we have created these invoices, and based on the template that you have configured, right? So individual tax invoices will be created for you. So this is how simple importing your transactions are. So as I said, if the masters are configured perfectly, transactions can be imported much more quicker. And same process holds true for the purchase invoices too. So the vendor masters are once again available. Once a vendor masters are available, any payable entry you want to post, like any purchase invoices you want to bring in, right? That can be brought in as bills into Zoho Books. Once again, format is very similar to what we had in the invoices. So I'll just select the bills file which I have. And the bill number is mapped, bill date is mapped. GST information will be auto picked up from the vendors. And account column is also mapped. And we can import this data. So this will create the bill for you. So basically a bill is nothing but the purchase invoice that you might be having. And this will create the payable entry for you. So as you see, the entry against respective accounts payable ledger and the COGS ledger will be posted by the system. And similarly, for any other miscellaneous expenses you might be having, like your organization level expenses you are having, right? So those can be directly brought in as expenses. So they might not be payables for you. It might be some day-to-day expenses you incur at an organization level. So these data can be brought in directly using this expenses section. And let me open the expenses file. So expense file, once again, what is the date on which expense needs to be posted? And for what category expense was incurred, whether it was a meals, for travel, for marketing, what is the category for which expense was incurred? Basically, this is the ledger under which entry will be posted. And what is the currency, once again? What is the amount incurred as an expense? And whether it was just a petty cash expense or you paid it through bank. You can mention the paid through account accordingly here. And you can import the file back. Let us choose this expense file. And we can import the same. So expense date, paid through, all these fields have been mapped. And we can import these expenses. So this will create individual expense entries for you. And based on what we have imported, the accounting will also be taken care. So this is how simple data migration is, be it you want to bring in your master part or you want to bring in the transaction part. Just ensure that the data that you mentioned in the file is in the format supported, and you can quickly migrate your data into the Zoho Books organization. So with this, we come to the end of how data can be migrated. Apart from that, we would also like to cover a few more important things which you can, take a look at in Zoho Books. So basically, this being a cloud-based platform, we would be inviting multiple users to work on the platform, right? So multiple users can access Zoho Books simultaneously and handle the accounting records. So in that case, you can invite them to desired roles. Like if you want to provide a restriction on which modules must be accessible to them and which modules must be hidden from them, that kind of a role configuration can be done in the system. So if you see under settings, you'll be having the users and roles section using which customized roles can be created. So you can enter a role name, and below this you can choose which modules must be visible to them and which modules must be hidden from them. And within a module, you can choose like what level of access you want to provide, whether a complete access must be given or only to view, create, edit, delete, etc. So this kind of an access configuration can be done right from the dashboard that we have in Zoho Books across all the transaction modules until the various reports that are available. So even within the reports, you can choose which report must be visible to them, which report must be hidden from them. Even till the reports and access control can be given in the system. And module-wise preferences can also be configured. Once again, here various modules are available. One thing is you can basically enable and disable which module you want. Certain businesses might not require a quote and an order. You would want to directly create an invoice, right? So in that case, you can enable and disable the modules that you want to see in your organization. And within every module level preferences are also there. So if you want to create customized fields in your organization or within a module, certain customization needs to be done, you can just navigate to the respective module settings and you can perform the respective customizations from there. And also in terms of customizing the template, two things. One is you can automatically email the transactions to your customers right from here. And what content should be there in the email that is sent, those kind of an email configurations can be done. So as you see, multiple templates are available. If you want to share the invoice to your customers, you can check out what is the content that will be sent. And this content can be customized. So if you want to enter some customized information here, you can just update this content that is displayed. And certain placeholders are also given. So you can either customize the existing notification templates that are provided, or if in case you want to create your own template which you want to send it to your customers, a new template can also be created from here. And not just in terms of email. So basically any transaction you create, how the transaction should look. So basically we would want professionally looking transactions, right? So at the template level too, customizations can be done. So be it at the sales transaction level, the purchase transaction level, we can completely customize the template, starting from the header information that is displayed till the footer content. In the table, what data should be displayed, what should be the headers of these particular item table information. And if you want to add the bank details to the template, bank details can be added to your invoice. And if you want to add a signature image, all these kind of customizations can be done at the template level. And finally, regarding the payment part, so regarding the payments which you would have to receive from your customers, we do have integration with payment gateways. So to show you the payment gateways that we currently support, it is Razorpay, Paytm, Stripe, PayPal, Verifone. And we recently introduced our own payment gateway called as Zoho Payments as well. So if in case you integrate any of these payment gateways with Zoho Books, like when you send the tax invoice to your customers, a payment link also gets auto-generated. So your clients can directly click on that payment link and make a payment against the invoices we are sending. So this is in terms of receiving your payments. Also, in case of making payments to your suppliers, for that too, certain banks are supported, like State Bank of India, HSBC, and Standard Chartered Bank. So if you integrate any of these bank accounts with Zoho Books, it is even possible to initiate your supplier payments right from here. So both in terms of receiving payment from your clients and also in terms of making payments to your suppliers, we do provide options like integrations with payment gateways and banks through which the payment process can be done with ease. So with this, we come to the end of today's session where we extensively we started with what Zoho Books is, what are the benefits on moving to cloud. And then we jumped onto the part of migration where if you just want to bring in your opening balances, how the masters and the opening balances can be brought in. Or if you want to bring in your legacy data too, how the transactions can be imported in bulk into the system. And we also saw some basic settings that will help you to customize the Zoho Books organization as per your requirement. So any questions regarding the process that we discussed or the customization aspect, please do feel free to post and we'll be glad to take it up.
So please post your questions in the Q&A tab. It will be easy to answer there.
So can you raise a performer tax invoice? If yes, whether same can be converted into tax invoice? So one thing is currently, if you want to create a performer invoice in Zoho Books, right, you can make use of the quotation module itself. So in the quotation itself, various tax information can be associated. And yes, you can convert that quote directly into a tax invoice. So we can just select the customer name as we saw, just choose the item information and respective GST will be populated here. And if in case, as you see, right, we can customize the template. If you want that to be displayed as a performer invoice, we can do the template customizations. And yes, we can convert this directly into a tax invoice. And once you convert the same, including the contact information and the tax information will be populated for you. And you can right away create a tax invoice. So yes, as you had mentioned, we can convert from a performer invoice. Basically, we can make use of the quotation module into an equivalent tax invoice. And next is how to generate e-invoices. So in Zoho Books, we do have direct integration with the e-invoicing portal. So you need to first of all integrate Zoho Books with the e-invoicing portal. So you need to log into your e-invoicing portal, configure Zoho Corporation as your GST Suvidha provider. And once you do that configuration, you need to create a new username and password there. And once that is done, within Zoho Books, you'll be having a push to IRP button against an invoice. So all that you have to do is just click on the push to IRP button and you'll be able to generate an e-invoice from here. So regarding integrating Flipkart with Zoho Books, currently a direct integration is not there. So we support Amazon and Etsy as of now. Flipkart, it is not a direct integration, but of course we provide APIs from our end. Open APIs are there. So if in case you're able to get the information from Flipkart, yes, of course, using APIs, we can automate the process in Zoho Books.
Okay, so there is a comment on the session was about configuration and importing. So yes, today's session was, the topic was migrating to Zoho Books. So that is why we have covered it. The detailed walkthrough of Zoho Books have been already covered. So that is a session already done with Wow series, and it should be available in the YouTube. Okay, so you can check the Wow series playlist, and you'll be able to find our session there. Also, I have dropped my email there, so if you want to have a demo of the session of Zoho Books personally also, please send me your contact details with your convenient numbers. I'll arrange a session for you. Okay, on how you create pro forma invoice, yeah, we'll show you again.
Yeah, sure. So once again, under sales, you are having various modules, right? Like how we have the invoices module. We also have the quotes module available. So creating a transaction is very simple. You just navigate to the respective module, and you can select what is the customer name from the drop down. So for this, the master needs to be configured. So you need to configure the client information and the item information in the first phase. So once done, you can just select the customer name, and you can scroll down. There'll be item table from which you can choose what is the service information or the product which you're creating this code for. And based on the item that we select, the GST information will be picked up from the item masters for you. You can just check out this information. Any changes you want to make to the rate, the GST, you can make the respective changes. And any attachments you want to add, there is also an upload functionality available. You can just add attachments to, and we can create a transaction here. So this will create a quotation for you. And once this has been created, there's a convert button available at the top. And if you want to convert this performer invoice directly into a tax invoice, click on this convert invoice button. So the customer information and the item information will be picked up for you. You can just verify this data, and you can right away create a tax invoice. Just check whether the quotes module is enabled for you. So if you see, go to settings, there'll be the general preferences available. Please do check whether quotes module is enabled in your organization. If it is enabled, you'll be able to see it under sales. Sure. So regarding fixed assets, yes, we do have the fixed assets module available in Zoho Books, where any asset purchases that you make, you can manage the same using the fixed asset module. And this module will be available under the accountant section that you see. So let me go to that module. So here you can create your fixed assets that you're purchasing. You can mention the asset details, what is the asset type, all these details can be mentioned here. And we currently support two depreciation methods. One is the straight line and the declining balance method. You can choose on what frequency the depreciation entry needs to be posted for you, what is the asset life, computation type, and other details. And you can choose the ledgers under which the entry needs to be posted. So based on the details that you configure here, both the asset register will also be maintained for you. And based on the depreciation frequency that we mentioned, the depreciation entries will also be automatically posted for you. So you can make use of this fixed asset module to both store the asset register. Basically, this will contain the list of assets. And based on the depreciation frequency and the ledgers that we configure, the accounting entries will also be posted for you. Yeah, thank you. So to bring in the previous assets, as you see, we have an import option across various modules, right? Similarly, an import option is there in the fixed asset module too. So you can make use of this import option and bring in the assets which you have for the past years that you mentioned. So we think we have taken up the questions received so far.
We have two questions in Q&A. For a startup in the food and beverages industry, a very small business selling things online via Amazon, etc., what would the monthly billing be? As in, what subscription is ideal? Also, can sales reports from Amazon can be integrated? So we can show you our subscription model pricing page. So you can choose our elite plan where we have a package of advanced inventory also involved here. So you can maybe start with this. This should be ideal for you. So the integration which we have with Amazon is that your orders would be brought in here and accordingly invoices will be generated. The sales reports of Amazon is currently not integrated. I mean, that is not the feature of the integration which we have. But if we can discuss in detail, what is your requirement and the use case of it, we can let you know, how we can work around it or how we can achieve it. So I'll drop you my email again. So please send me your contact details and your convenient time to discuss about it. So I'm dropping my email in the chat window. Anyone who would like to connect with us, please send me an email there. GST Reco 2 is feasible. Yes, it is feasible. Both GSTR 2A and 2B reconciliation is available in Zoho Books. If you have any more questions, please let us know. Please post your questions in the Q&A window. If you have any questions on migrations or anything on Zoho Books, please let me know. Or anything on any Zoho, of any products of Zoho, if you're already using also, you can let us know. You can refer our previous sessions also in the WoW series. So there was one question on Arabic on, for a client in KSA. So similarly, we have a lot of other editions also, like we have editions for UAE, we have editions for Canada, USA. So if you have global clients, you can use those editions as well. So we have done a detailed session on that topic as well. So you can check out those videos as well. Can you help regarding Zoho people? Yes, if you have any questions on Zoho people, you can drop me an email. I can connect you with the people, DRIs. Please show how to do GSTR to be reconciliation through its in Zoho and IMS.
Okay. So regarding IMS, yes, we understand recently government has introduced the IMS dashboard to fetch the information and perform the reconciliation, right? So we have also introduced the same IMS dashboard within Zoho Books as well. So you can fetch the information from your GST portal into the system. And once the information, like basically your data is fetched here, you can perform your reconciliation. Like the data which is perfectly matching between the GST portal and the Zoho Books organization will be shown here in the matched tab. If in case data is available but certain data is not matching, maybe the total is not matching or the rate is not matching, we categorize that in the partially matched section. If in case it is there in the GST portal, but you have missed out to record the same in your Zoho Books organization, right? That will be shown under the missing in Zoho Books tab. So you can internally reconcile this data and you can accept the data, you can reject it, or you can mark it as pending, and you can once again push it to the GST portal right from here. So whatever activities you basically perform in the IMS dashboard in the GST portal, right? Those same set of activities can be done directly within Zoho Books.
So do we have any questions? So we have answered all the questions on the chat and the Q&A window.
Okay, it will not be bulk. So basically, we auto categorize the transactions. So if you see, we showed multiple tabs here, right? Like we have the match section, partially matched and missing in Zoho Books. So this will be auto categorized. So you just go there, check the transactions and reconcile the same, and post which you can push it to the GST portal from here. So categorization is not a manual process. We auto categorize them into these categories and show the respective transactions, post which you can select them and mark it as accepted or pending or rejected.
Yes, Zoho expense can be integrated with Zoho Books. In fact, they are by default integrated. So if you have a Zoho expense organization and the same books organization, they will be by default integrated. So not just Zoho expense, we have a lot of other integrations also. So if you go to the settings, and you can see the integrations and marketplace section which we have here. So you can see all kind of integrations which we have, which with Zoho apps and outside Zoho apps as well. So if you go to the Zoho apps, you'll find the list of Zoho apps with which we have integration. You have to just so you have to just click on connect and it would set up and then you'll have few steps to complete the integration. Whereas for finance applications like Zoho Inventory, Zoho Expense, Zoho Commerce, there wouldn't be much steps and they would be by default integrated. So I hope you're aware of the integration features that it offers. Like if you integrate your Zoho Expense and Zoho Books, all the reimbursed expenses in your Zoho Expense would automatically come to Zoho Books. So similarly, if you have integrated your Zoho inventory and books, or if you're using a package of Zoho Books like the Elite plan where inventory is also available, then all the orders which you create, that gets that automatically comes here, and then invoice can be raised here and vice versa. Similarly, if you have Zoho payroll integrated with Zoho Books, then all the payroll entries. So if you run a pay run in Zoho payroll, that will get automatically fetched into Zoho Books. So a lot of manual work can be avoided. There are some more Zoho integrations which you can see here. How to update tags in bulk in invoice if already uploaded. I think you are referring to reporting tags. Uh, bulk option. Okay.
Yeah, so currently bulk updating reporting tags, we don't have the direct option for the same. So if already invoices have been imported and you want to associate tags, you need to go to the respective invoices and do it one by one. For certain fields, there is a bulk update option, but currently for reporting tags, the bulk update option will not work. We suggest you to go and update it against the respective invoice.
Or they can export the file,
They can
update
remove-
the information and import it again.
That they can do, yeah. So bulk importing is one option which we do basically suggest. So you can export the list of invoices, mention the tags against the same, and you can import it once again into the system.
With overwrite option. Otherwise, you just a moment, we'll just clarify. Okay, so the best way to do would be export your invoices, update the tags, and then delete the invoices from Zoho Books, and then you will have to import these invoices. Okay, so any other questions? So let us know if you have any other questions. Any questions on importing the transactions? Or overall, if you have any questions on books, please let us know. Okay, there is a question, Tally to Zoho, any API? So I'm not sure if Tally supports APIs. But if your question is if you can migrate the data from Tally to Zoho Books, yes, of course, we do support that. As I said, we have a lot of partners also available who can help you in migrating the data from Tally to Zoho. If your question is Tally and Zoho integrated? No, they are not by default integrated, and I'm not sure if they can be integrated with API. There could be ways to connect Tally and Zoho, but we do not offer it from our end though. However, if you would like to discuss the use case of connecting Tally to Zoho and what would be the best things to do here, then maybe you can connect with us or you can post your question so that we can answer. So if you have any other questions, please let us know. I hope we have answered all the questions. So over to WIRC team.
Yeah. Hello, can you listen?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So I think the session was very much excited because I can see the chat and box and the conversation with you. So I think it's very interactive session. And Sonia, are you there?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So we are looking forward to more sessions on Zoho book because I think it can transform the accounting world, and it is very useful for the females and for flexi hour work, for online work. Like I think it's very useful. So thank you both the faculty to enlighten us about this program, and I want to thank Sonia also to coordinate today's webinar.
Thank
Uh,
you.
yeah, so we look forward to more sessions on this if the participants like to attend on more session on the Zoho book. So on behalf of WIRC, I want to thank you both, the speaker and the coordinator, for the session, and all the participants. You all, thank you all to actively participate the program and make it more interactive. So thank you, and we can close the session.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, entire WIRC team, for such initiatives. And we do have one more session. I think I'm not sure of the date, but the participants can look for it, where we are presenting on the Zoho Finance ecosystem. So yeah, one session is already planned. So yeah, and hoping to have many more sessions with WIRC.